Peace and welcome. I am ICC, and today we have a review on the Mega Everdrive Pro for the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive console. To sum it up, this is a flash cart with a micro SD slot. You can put this in your Sega Genesis and play Genesis and Master System games. One huge addition is the fact it will play Sega CD images without actually needing the Sega CD add-on. In fact, if you have it attached, Sega CD games will not boot. I tried this on a Sega Genesis CDX and I was not able to boot any Sega CD games. Maybe there will be a firmware update or a method in the future that will allow it to run on the CDX, but as of now, it's a no-go. I also tried this on multiple versions of the Genesis besides the CDX. I can report from my findings that the Model 1 and Model 2 Genesis run everything just fine. However, the Genesis 3 will not have sound from Sega CD games. I am told the Nomad has the same issue. The consoles were not made to support the Sega CD, but every other console seems to work a lot better, and far more compatible, even on the Mega SG. One thing I will mention, you need to update the firmware on your Mega SG in order to get sound from the Sega CD games. I opened it out of the box and plugged it right in, and I tried everything to get the audio working. Once I did the firmware update to the console, the audio worked perfectly. I also updated the firmware on the Mega Everdrive Pro. I am using firmware 4.02. I would suggest updating the firmware as soon as you get it. There have been many advancements in just the first 2 updates alone. I won't go into detail of all the changes because it's not very useful talking about things that have been fixed, but you can view the changelog. A few things that should be mentioned. Your micro SD does not have to be FAT32. exFAT is compatible. Up to 1024 files per folder, or unlimited if the file sorting is disabled. However, this should not be an issue. The libraries aren't that big unless you have ROM hacks, plus every English, Japanese, and European release. I had to split my Genesis collection because of that. As of now, it does not support zip or RAR files. You will need to extract everything before copying it to your micro SD. Save states are supported, and Genesis will even show you a snapshot of your save state. To bring up the save state menu, press down and start to bring up the menu while playing a game. Game Genie is supported. Just bring up the menu by clicking A on the game and then go down to cheats and then enter them in before you start playing. Scrolling through the menu is easy. You can view 21 games at a time, and you can scroll up and down to select which one. You can also scroll left and right to get to the next page of games. The speed is good, and there is no noticeable lag. 32X games will not work unless you have the 32X add-on. This was not a deal breaker for me, as I wanted it for Master System, Genesis, and mainly Sega CD. However, if you were looking to play your 32X ROMs, just remember you need the 32X. I do not have one, so this was the one thing I was not able to test. However, one thing I can tell you, the in-game menu does not work if the 32X add-on is installed. So now let's discuss the Genesis portion. When it comes to playing Genesis ROMs, this is not software emulation. This is not like the Retron 5. It will use the actual Genesis hardware to play the games. Plug this into your Genesis console and you will have the same experience as you were playing it back in the day. The only real difference is you don't need multiple cartridges. One cart filled with the entire Genesis library will get the job done. I have only actually had a few issues. One of the Streets of Rage 2 ROMs I tried didn't work correctly, but I tried a different revision and it worked just fine. Same thing with Uncharted Waters. One of the revisions didn't work, but the second one I tried worked perfectly. So far, these are the only real issues I have ran into. A revision or two might not work. Sega Master System runs similar to Genesis. I am yet to find a game that doesn't work. Granted, I haven't tried every single one, but I did try most of my favorite games. The save states still work here, but you will not see a snapshot like you would on the Sega Genesis. The pause button for the Sega Master System is directly on top of the cartridge. Very easy to see and access. I didn't run into any issues running games, and each revision I tried worked great. Some Master System games may not work if the Sega CD add-on is attached. And Master System games do not work if the 32X is attached due to the Master System mode lock by the 32X hardware. And last but not least, Master System games do not work on the Nomad and the Genesis 3 due to the lack of Master System support on both of those systems. It has nothing to do with the Mega Everdrive Pro. The Sega CD portion of it uses FPGA to play the games. This is why you don't need the Sega CD hardware to play the software. It's all done inside of the cart. The only thing you will need to do is get the BIOS, because legally they cannot supply you with those files. There are 3 files in total, one for the US, another one for Japanese, and a last one for the European region. You can find these files all over the net. Just do a quick Google search for Sega CD BIOS. I found some on Emu Paradise. When this was first released, only single bin and queue were supported, but now you can load multi-bin images. I recommend just running the game from the folder. I put each console in their own folder, and then the Sega CD games in their own individual folder. Then just hit A on the folder, and then A again on Start Game. The load time is improved and varies depending on the game. Sometimes it's half as fast, and other times not as fast. But it's still better than loading off of the CD-ROM. The last thing I tested was the IPS patching. If you want translations or any other patch, they can be applied. The good thing is the ROM won't be changed. You don't need to run any software to actually patch the ROM. Just drop the patch in the same folder as the ROM and name it the exact same thing, besides the extension. Here we have 2 examples of Bare Knuckle 3, or Streets of Rage 3 in Western regions. First, I will show you the unpatched ROM. You can see the file name, remember that for later. Then, as the game boots, you will notice everything is written in Japanese. Now if we exit this ROM, back out of the directory, and go to the patch with the ROM, you will notice it's the same ROM. I copied and pasted just to make sure it's the exact same. Start the game and wait for the English to appear. It's that simple. Now, to prove it's the Japanese version, just look at the main menu. It has the Japanese title screen. Another thing you can do with the IPS patching is a sort of MS1U mod, like you see on the Super Nintendo. But here, it's dubbed Genesis Plus, or Mega Drive Plus. You can take CD quality audio and have it play during gameplay. Just put the patch in the Mega IPS MSU directory, and make sure it has the same name as your ROM and Q file. You can put the ROM and Q anywhere on your memory card as long as they are together with the waveforms. Here is a quick one I made. I put the Golden Axe Sega Ages 2500 soundtrack on the Sega Genesis. And it goes a little something like this. I couldn't get this working on the Mega SG, but I ended up figuring out why. If you have any issues at all, just make sure to check the Enable Cart and CD audio. As soon as I checked it, the music kicked in. Also, one cool addition by Crix is this Mega Color Player. You can actually play movies and videos on the Genesis. Download it from his site, extract it, and in the Converter folder, drop a video file onto the convert.bat. Wait a moment, and once it's done, delete the old video file. Then move the newly created DAT video to the player folder, and then copy the entire player folder over to the SD card. Put the micro SD into your Mega Everdrive Pro and into your Genesis. Boot it up, go into the player folder and run Mega Color Player. Once that's booted, select the video, and there you go. There is one addition that I would like to mention. However, it's not perfect. The Mega Everdrive Pro runs NES games. Although it only runs NTSC and has limited compatibility as it's missing some of the mappers. You might run into glitches here and there. Also, the color palette is a little bit off, so it may not be exact, but just try to remember this was just a bonus. It's not intended to replace your NES, it's just for fun. The cost of the Mega Everdrive Pro is around $199. However, if you don't care about the addition of Sega CD and a few of the other extra bonus features, you can get cheaper models from the same company. I recommend looking at the features and seeing which version best suits you and your budget. Shout out to Crix for sending me the cartridge for a review. And last but not least, shout out to gold level patrons Bearsona11, Quantum X, Chris Hayes, and Dimitri. I am ICC. Thanks for watching. Peace.